Hello, this video is for those that might be interested in a deeper dive of the Honeycomb Chronicles. So by now you might already know what the Honeycomb Chronicles is, but just in case you don't, it is a podcast produced by Moody Radio under their podcast branch in partnership with Today in the Word. So for those of you who don't know what Today in the Word is, it is a daily devotional put out by the ministry of Moody. And just within the last year or so, they've started making family devotions monthly that go along with the daily devotions for adults. And so what we've done is we've taken the Today in the Word themes and we have created a storyline with characters that live out those biblical themes so that kids and adults can kind of tangibly hear biblical truths be applied to real life situations in a fun and creative way. So that is the Honeycomb Chronicles that launches August 6, 2024. Now, my involvement with the Honeycomb Chronicles is, simply put, I got to write the scripts. So you will not hear me on the podcast. I know some people were confused. It's not a podcast where I'm narrating or even like a host or anything like that. I simply got to work over about a 6-month period writing the storyline with the characters and the scripts for the actual episodes. So what you hear, I worked with a team, but I was the primary writer. I studied the passages that Today in the Word gave us and prayed through what scenarios we wanted kids to experience and glean from, and then created these characters and storylines for them to experience truth in real, tangible ways. So I grew a ton in this project. It was first proposed to me in actually about April of 2022, but then we paused the project and put on a shelf and then picked it back up in like December of 23. And I really started writing this past January. Now I've done a lot of story writing. And in fact, through my time in children's ministry, I've realized that the power of taking biblical truth and having realistic characters experience that truth stays with kids and adults in really powerful ways. It's impacted my life as I've written these storylines. And so it was a real exciting yes for me, but I was really challenged in this style of writing because I do a lot of stories through books and stories through skits in my experience so far, but this is purely audio. So everything you have to know about a character, you have to hear through dialogue, which was a new experience for me. And if you listen to the podcast, you might be able to see that I got better as we went. So hang in there. But it is hopefully used to build God's kingdom and allow kids and their parents to understand how the timeless truths of the Bible can be applied to their lives and their situations today. So the podcast follows 3 main characters, Lena, Max, and Colin. They all have very different backgrounds. They come from different types of families, different ethnicities even, but they all go to the same after-school program called the Honeycomb Club. And that's run by Mr. Mitchell, who's kind of their spiritual mentor, guide, director, pal throughout the episodes, who kind of has some insight into biblical knowledge and even sets them on these scenarios that helps them understand the truth in a deeper, more personal way. What I love about stories and podcasts, this podcast in particular, kind of what my personal business is based all around, which is IGD, which stands for Intergenerational Discipleship, is that stories are powerful for everyone, no matter the age. And that's the same with truth. Truth is truth no matter how old you are. So though this podcast was written for upper elementary, 8 to 13-year-olds it is definitely palatable for any kids that are younger, though they might not fully grasp all the storyline. And it's really, I think, beneficial for anyone, no matter how old you are, because it gives some practical, tangible ways in which the truths can be applied. So I have really enjoyed being part of this process. It's been hard. We worked with a great team. I got to write scripts and then review them each week with a team. Then actors were hired to play the characters, and then there was production and music written. It's going to be a really powerful resource. And these podcasts can stand alone. They can also be paired with the Today in the Word studies. So I will put all those links down below so that you can resource them. This podcast will be available wherever you get your podcasts. So YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. And it's really helpful to make the podcast more known if you subscribe and rate the podcast wherever you listen, because then more people are likely to see it. And really the hope of this is not for Moody's name to be great or my name to be great or anything like that. In fact, we have worked on these resources so that God's name can be great and truth can be better understood and applied in people's lives. And we got to do that in a really fun, creative way. So please take a listen, share it with people that you think might be interested. School is around the corner, so the episodes are about 12 to 15 minutes. So if you have maybe part 1 in the morning, part 2 in the afternoon when you're riding to and from school, I think it's a great way for you to get in some biblical truths around your daily activities. And also, it's just going to be a fun experience to go on this journey together. I've only heard the pilot episode, so as they come out week to week, I get to listen and get to know the characters even deeper as I get to hear who they are and how the writing gets to transfer to the audio and the recording. So I'm excited about this. I pray that the Lord uses it in your life. And there'll be one episode every Tuesday for the next 6 months. So starts in August 6th it premieres, and it goes August, September, October, November, December, and through January for volume 1. And the first month, I'll say this, was extra challenging because it's the book of Job. And the book of Job has some phenomenal truths, but it was really challenging because some of those were hard to think, how does that apply to a real life situation today? So I really think that we came up with some creative, fun ways in which those truths will become really real to you and your children. So I encourage you to take a look. And I hope you enjoy the podcast. Again, I'll put links down below so that you have resources to connect to the podcast, to subscribe, to find out what Today in the Word has to offer. And I'm excited to go on this journey of learning truth in a really fun way with you.